Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? I know I did before I started this. I had tons of questions that I didn't have the answers to. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people, like to listen to? How do I make money off of it? Really, and all these answers were simply answered by Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use, and I cannot specify that enough. It is so easy, especially for somebody like me. I'm lazy. Although I am tech savvy and I can do all this manually myself, I don't want to. So it's great. And now Anchor can match you up with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. So that means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. And, as people listen to this ad and listen to my podcast, I will get more and more money to this and, hopefully maybe be able to be self-efficient with this. So if you always want to start a podcast and make money, go to anchor.fm/start. It's anchor.fm/start to join me and a diverse community of podcasters already use Anchors. And can't wait to hear your podcast. Welcome to the Kaha Club. Roll up. Let's take a rip. Never tell you the world is yours. Yeah, bish. And here we are again. Kaha Club MMA episode number 13. UFC Fight Night 150. Jacare versus Hermansson. Recap. The first fight of the night was between Court McGee and Diego Lima. It's at welterweight. It was a good fight to start off the early prelims for the night. So Lima, he looked pretty good in this bout, and he looked large for 170. And since he was larger than McGee, he was looking to use his reach and his distance and his size to win the fight. McGee was pretty good at cutting him off and, making sure he wasn't chasing him around the cage and, just following that lead foot. Instead, he did a good job to get on the other side of the lead foot, kind of attack that back foot and cut off Lima and, not chase him around the cage, as I said. Round one, McGee had a sick judo throw to get him to the ground. Lima, stood back up, but not too much really happened round one. It was kind of a wait and see and kind of a feel out round. Guys were exchanging, but honestly, I wasn't sure how to score it. I initially scored it 10-9 to Court McGee, but then scratched it out and wrote 9-9. But then the second round came. I thought Lima had the stronger strikes, so I definitely gave that round to him, and he stopped his takedowns in the second round. And third round, they kind of traded back and forth, but I think Lima definitely had a higher output and more damaging strikes overall. But in the last seconds of the third round, McGee knocked him down, so I wasn't sure if that knockdown counted more and would trump, over what Lima did the entire round before that, which I thought he was definitely going to win, but then he got knocked down. So I wasn't sure. I honestly just drew a line through it and was like, I don't know. It's like, we'll see what the judges say. So I could really see, it was iffy on the first and the third round, so I could see this going either way. Judges ended up scoring it as F30. 30-27 in Lima's favor, and then 29-28 in McGee's favor, and then 29-28 to Lima. So, split decision. So Lima got the win, and, he looked big for 170. He looked good. McGee's a solid fighter as well. I look forward to seeing both of them back in there. Wasn't a boring fight, so to say. It was definitely nice to watch. It wasn't the most exciting fight you'll see, or even on this card, but it wasn't the most boring fight. It was a good way to start off the prelims and get on to the next fight. That was between Angela Hill and Jodie Esquibel. And what I said about in the preview episode to this card was pretty much came true. I didn't predict the performance, but I had said that Hill, she had all the tools and athleticisms, to be athleticisms. I hope I did not just say that. I don't think I did. Oh my God, I think I did though. But, Hill had all the pieces to be, a contender, at least a ranked fighter in this division. What division is that? 115. Strawweights, women's strawweights. She hadn't really pieced it all together yet, but I think she did this fight. I thought she looked pretty solid, controlled her distance, was more athletic, and Jodie was able to, circle around her and just, I wouldn't say outwork her, but, just outpoint her and, just touch her more than she did. Jodie was a very tough fighter and just kept bringing pressure. She didn't care how much she got punched in the face. She just kept coming. But I said Hill just had more strikes, and I thought she had a great fight. And there was a great finish to the fight as well. At the end there, they kind of just threw down a little bit, and it was a good fight, a good ladies fight or women's fight at 115. I ended up scoring all 3 rounds for Hill. 2 judges scored the same, 30-27, and 1 scored it 29-28 to Hill. So unanimous decision to her. Hopefully she can build off those momentum. I think she had what was her loss streak at? She's on a 2-fight losing streak, so not too bad, but she was 2-4 in the 2-4 in the UFC, 3-4 now. Maybe she can ride this momentum and even that up at 500 and start to climb back up there towards the rankings. And although Jodie is now 6-5, she's a tough fighter. She's still coming. So I wouldn't mind seeing her get in the octagon. She brought it. She definitely wasn't backing down. And then the third fight and final fight on the early prelims was between Jim Miller and Jason Gonzalez. And goddamn Jim Miller. Fucking, what a vet. I think I said I might put some money down on Gonzalez, but I ended up not doing it. I had a bunch of fights actually where I was like, oh, I should bet on this. But then when I went to my betting website, the odds were already taken down. I was like, what the fuck? And I was upset. But pretty much every time it ended up in my favor. So, yeah. But yeah, Miller was... it was just the vet here. He got 2 takedowns. That's the wrong notes. In the beginning, he did have to deal with Gonzalez's length a little bit, but Gonzalez didn't get too much off. He was still kind of filling out Miller, because Miller is dangerous. You got to be careful. But then Miller got a takedown. It was pretty much over after that, and just cemented him, got his back, rear naked choke in the first round, 2 minutes and 12 seconds in. Pretty quick victory there. His kids were in the stands, and this first time they got to see him fight, and they seemed pretty stoked when he won. And congrats to him. He actually has the most submission victories in 155 history, lightweight history now, with 8. So that's pretty cool. Coming into this fight, and I guess he's had this for a while, Jim Miller's had Lyme disease. Sorry, I'm just moving my chair a little bit. But Jim Miller had Lyme disease. Of course, the reason I'm getting up right now is because my fucking cat again seems every time I do one of these, she wants to take the smelliest shit in the world. So I apologize. Fucking females, man. Always shitting on. I'm just kidding. But, yeah. Miller had Lyme disease, and he says, although it's still a continuing battle and it'll be a battle for the rest of his life, he thinks he's got it under control and he can continue his MMA career. And, it looked really solid here, so fucking here. Great fight, and he actually ended up getting performance bonus for that, so extra $50K. That's fucking awesome. To start out the prelims, On ESPN was Gilbert Burns and Mike Davis. Honestly, I don't have really anything written down in this fight. First round I gave to Gilbert Burns. In the second round, Burns ended up getting his back and getting a rear naked choke and choking him out 4 minutes and 15 seconds in the fight. Literally, the only note I have written down is dominating ground. So I think Burns just kind of took Davis down and just, had his way with him and was able to choke him out there in the final. It wasn't, in the final minute. I was going to say seconds, but it's the final minute. So good win for him. He's now 15-3 overall. So let's see what division was that. At lightweight. So yeah, man. Good luck in that stack of lightweight division. So I'm sure he'll get it. Not saying Davis is a bad contender. He's a guy I think was on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. Yep. He's still a young up-and-comer. He just dealt with a crafty fight veteran. He's got 18 fights, whereas Davis only has 9. He was 7-2. So I look forward to seeing both guys again. The next fight was between Carla Esparza and Verna Jandiroba, who was undefeated coming into this fight. It was a fucking good fight. The first round, Carla Esparza got 2 takedowns, pretty much top control most of the fight. She had good sprawls, and where Verna looked like she had some submission skills and jiu-jitsu skills. But Esparza pretty much controlled it all round one. It actually had some decent strikes, I think better strikes than Verna, and so I gave her that first round. Second round, kind of flip-flop. Verna had, ground control for pretty much the entire round, and, so I gave her the points there. But then third round, it switched back. And our Esparza mainly had the ground control and, also kept it on the feet when she wanted to, and, was outstriking Verna. So I gave the third round to Esparza, and all 3 judges ended up giving the nod to Esparza in the decision. 2 judges scored 29-28, the other one 30-27. So good win for her. She was ranked number 9, so she can get back in there and, fight somebody in the top 10 at least, maybe top 7, top 5, and, try to climb towards that belt again. Next fight, wasn't really sure about this fight, man. I might have to rewatch the first round, but yeah, it was between Andrei Arlovsky and Augusto Sakai. And I actually bet money on Sakai. I thought he would definitely win this, although I know Arlovsky's a fucking beast. You can't ever count him out. I saw Sakai fight, and I thought, just the odds were in a good favor. He was the underdog, I believe. Wait, no, he wasn't. Yeah, no, he was the favorite. I actually had him in a 3-way parlay. Yeah, that's what it was. And it was to start off a 3-way parlay, right? No. A 3-way parlay was with... I haven't even got to that fight. Was with, Augusto Sakai. I had a 3-way parlay with him, Roosevelt Roberts, and Thomas Gifford, which is later. This is the main event starter. And then I had Greg Hardy versus Dmitry Smolakov. So I had that. But every fight I bet on this card, I ended up winning. Actually doubled my money. It was pretty dope. But for this fight, Arlovsky versus Sakai, let's see. Where are my notes? Round 1, I just thought Arlovsky had more strikes, the speed advantage, had good footwork, and was moving in and out. And just outpointing Sakai the entire round and entire fight. I just thought he had more output. I definitely thought Arlovsky won the first round, and in the second 2 rounds, I thought it was more the same. Although Sakai did land some punches here and there where, a couple looked like they definitely stunned Arlovsky. But I just thought Arlovsky's output was so much higher than Sakai. Yes, Sakai's punches were, Augusto's punches were powerful, but I don't know. I thought Arlovsky's output was just outmatched Augusto's, few powerful shots. Although he probably did more damage overall, I just thought Arlovsky, his output was just so much greater than his. So I actually scored all 3 rounds to Arlovsky. So I scored it 30-27 in his favor. But the judges scored it. They all scored it 29-28, and one of them scored it to Arlovsky, and the other 2 scored it to Augusto. So after the fight, I was like, what? I was definitely questioning the judge's decision. Still kind of am. Maybe I have to rewatch it. But I don't know. But it worked in my favor. As I said, I had Augusto in a 3-way parlay. So if he lost that, then I would have lost the other ones, and that would have sucked. But because of the bad decision, my parlay went in favor, and now I'm hype. To close out the prelims, it was Ben Saunders versus Takashi Sato, and what a fucking UFC debut by Sato. Although I had Ben Saunders winning the first round, I thought he had more output, and Sato didn't really do anything. He was just he was fighting intelligently. He was just gauging his distance, figuring out where Saunders was coming from, his length, and that sort. And Saunders is a legit dude. He's a UFC veteran. See, I have it in my notes from before. Yeah, he's on 11 fights in the UFC. This is his 12th fight. And Takashi Sato from Japanese was making his UFC debut. And come second round, started off pretty well, and he stayed patient, stuck to his game plan, just in and out, striking and movement. He looked big for this division, 170, and Saunders is usually big and tall and lengthy for this division. But it seems Sato is bigger and lengthier. Sato's a legit contender. I don't know if he's ready for top 5, top 10 right now, but I think he's ready for definitely a top 15 or a guy that's cusp of the top 15 for sure. But come early the second round, he got Saunders with a nice 1-2. It was just pop, pretty much not basic, but pretty much, what's the fucking word? Textbook. That's the word. Textbook. Nobody reads, but do they even have textbooks in classes anymore? I know some schools just give out fucking iPads. But that's neither here or there. Yeah, you got a nice knockdown with the 1-2 Sato did, and then just elbows the ground and pound and just finished him for winning his UFC debut. That was fucking awesome. Definitely look forward to seeing who he fights next, and I hope it's a big fight, a named guy as well. So I think he could be a potential, a potential good fighter. He is a good fighter. He could be a star from, he could be the UFC's Japanese star. I don't think really there's one that has really established himself yet. I feel like there's a couple guys from Japan, but, you could corner that market. So it was a great fight in the prelims. Good showing for Sato. Sucks for Saunders, but if he continues to go on with his MMA career, I'm sure he'll be back in there and ready to go. Start off the main card, we had Roosevelt Roberts versus Thomas Gifford. It was pretty clear that, this wasn't a bad fight, but it was pretty clear that this was the fight to try to show off Roberts' skills, in the main card bout. And also kind of test him a little bit on the ground. Gifford had some sneaky, nice jiu-jitsu. He was pretty good off his back. I think he might have pulled guard once or twice. But Roberts, stayed composed, kept his distance, got his strikes, and when they were standing, and showed some pretty good ground skills. And actually, he actually had top control in that first round for a decent amount, and just, kind of, it wasn't a dominating, effort, but I had all 3 rounds in his favor for sure, and so out of 3 judges. So, like I said, this was kind of a showcase a little bit for Roberts. It's almost like, okay, you're in the main card opener, let's see what you can do. He passed the test, and look forward to seeing him fight again. Still undefeated, 8-0 now in his young MMA career. So yeah, Gifford was game, but he was just fighting a guy that was just better than him. That's all. Yeah. The next fight was a great fight between John Lineker and Corey Sandhagen. Now, I might have to watch this first round again. But I thought Lineker had the more powerful strikes. He had some good body shots. He started off in the first round with. He should have thrown a little more, I think, and throughout the contest, because they were definitely impacting Sandhagen. But I think, I think he just did more damage. Again, maybe I'll have to watch it again. But that's what I wrote down during the contest and what I remember. Come round 2, so I scored the first round to Lineker. Come round 2, Sandhagen actually got a takedown and, went on the feet, used his length and strikes, and I thought definitely won that second round, like no ifs, ands, or buts. Just beating Lineker on every facet on the scorecard. Come third round, it was back and forth action. It was just fucking exciting. Guys, they were trading back and forth, clinching here and there. I think there were some shots and some shots as in takedown shots and sprawls here and there. But I thought Lineker had the more aggressive output, and I thought he definitely won that third round. I thought he had more damage, and towards, if that fight went on for about another minute there, or even another round, I think Lineker would have finished him. So, I don't know. But I had Lineker winning that round. All 3 judges scored it 29-28. One scored it in favor of Lineker, and the other 2 scored it in favor of Sandhagen. And I actually had money on Sandhagen to win straight up. So I'm glad he won, because I bet on him just because he was the underdog and he was an up-and-comer, and I thought, he definitely had a chance to beat Lineker. I thought he was legit. And he showed that he is, and Lineker showed he's still game. I'm winning the fight. Maybe you have to watch that first round again. But it is what it is, and I won some money off a decision I don't agree with. So I'm not too upset. Next fight was a good fight between Glover Teixeira and Ion Cutelaba. I gave Cutelaba the first round. And I think probably everybody did, because he stunned Glover with the fucking spinning back fist there, and had him hurt pretty bad. Cutelaba tried to finish and just kind of try to put it on there and fucking finish him right then and there. I think Glover's just wise, he's a crafty veteran, man. This is his 36th professional fight, which is just crazy. Just had crafty recovery, and when he got hurt, just grab a leg, and just hold on until you regained yourself. And he was able to do that. He was able to survive and make it to the second round. He had well-timed shots on his takedowns. When Cutelaba would go for a combo or miss, or, you would just time it perfectly right after that. I feel like that's only something experience can give you, either experience in MMA or experience from wrestling. Wrestling, they don't throw strikes, so it's hard to, maybe it's not too hard to carry that over, but yeah. Come the second round, I think Cutelaba gassed out. He threw a little more than he should have in that first round. And if you look back at the tape, while you can understand him trying to finish him, it's Glover Teixeira. He's not easy to finish. He should have just been a little more patient and picked the shots a little more wisely and conserved himself. So just in case he didn't finish him, he still had more left in the tank. And he still had more left in the tank, but he was definitely a little compromised. He wasn't fighting at 100%, I don't think, probably 80, definitely less than 75. So, yeah, I don't even know what that means number-wise, but essentially Glover defended a knee that Cutelaba kind of just not lazily threw, but it was just an unwise attempt, and it was kind of a flying knee as well, but kind of half-assed it. A half-assed hard flying knee. And literally Glover just kind of pushed it away and, got him to the ground. Got on top, moved him out pretty quickly, threw a couple strikes on Ion, and Ion was, nobody wants to get punched in the face while a guy's mounting him. So he gave up his back while he was just, he was just trying to muscle his way out and get up. But with a guy like Glover, and Glover's strong, it's not going to work, and not with this jiu-jitsu pedigree. Once Ion gave his back, Glover tried to slip in that rear naked choke. He tried to get it in there, right away. Ion did defend it, but then once he defended it with that one arm, I think it was his left arm, Glover's already had that second arm in there, already fucking synced in around his neck, and that was it. That's all she wrote. Finished in the second round, 3 minutes and 30 seconds in, with a rear naked choke. Glover got his fucking 12th win in the UFC. He was ranked 11th, so even though Ion Cutelaba wasn't ranked, he was definitely a legit guy, and I was really upset that going into this fight I wasn't able to put money on Cutelaba. I thought I did beforehand. Although you can't count out Glover and he's the fucking man, I just love betting on underdogs because you just get more money. I'm a greedy bastard, I guess, in that sense. And so as they were walking out to the fight, I was trying to pull up my betting website and put money down, but they already took the odds off. And I'm glad I did because I would have lost money. So overall, it was a great fight, and I believe, Glover, got a win bonus. You get a win bonus when you win, but he got a performance bonus, so extra $50K in his pocket. I'm excited to see who he fights next in that light heavyweight division. Maybe he can work his way up and maybe another shot at the title. His next fight was best fight of the night, one fight of the night, and if you looked at this card, I probably would have told you, this definitely will be fight of the night, and I told you that this was going to be a great fight, and this should have been the fucking co-main, like I said. Nothing to take away from the co-main in the winner, but it should have been. It was between Alex Cowboy Oliveira and Mike Perry. And just like I said, man, it's a great fucking fight. Oliveira just came out crazy in the first round. He actually... I'm looking all at the wrong notes here, man. Oh, before we get to the fight, both these guys are they were dancing... and their walkouts, it was just fucking awesome. Cowboy Oliveira always fucking, dances to his Brazilian, salsa kind of music. That's what it would be to us, I guess, us Americans, us ignorant Americans. But, he's sweet, doing, moving his hips, kind of saucing out there. It was pretty dope. You could tell he just loves it. He loves the fighting. He loves the feeling and the environment of the fight and people watching the bright lights. It's all on you. You can tell he loves it, and I don't know if there's anybody else that loves it more than him or Mike Perry. Both these guys fucking love it. And while Oliveira's music was going on, and he was, getting inspected, and they were putting the Vaseline on his face, and checking the gloves and whatnot, Perry's fucking dancing to fucking Cowboys walkout, and just both guys were just in the moment, and I was hyped before the fight even started, man. I was so hyped. It was fucking electrifying. So was that first round. Both guys just came out firing, just back and forth, just trading. I did give the first round to Cowboy Oliveira. I thought he just landed more. He threw a lot of spinning techniques, a lot of fucking wild shit. They both were trying to fucking finish there in the first round and put on a show. And they definitely did. Second round, although Oliveira definitely still had an output, still was throwing some crazy shit. And not that he was tired, but he didn't look the same he did, in the first round. And Perry did, although he got stunned. No, he didn't get stunned. Maybe he did. I can't remember. Perry just looked like the more fortified fighter in there. And he ended up getting ended up getting a knockdown in that second round. And actually had a takedown and some ground control as well. So I definitely had Perry win that second round. Towards the second round, it looked like Oliveira definitely hurt his foot. After the fact, we found out that he dislocated his toe. And they just popped that right back into place after the second round. He just went back out there, and it didn't seem it affected him at all. He actually was walking better afterwards once they dislocated back, which of course makes sense, But that adrenaline's pumping. You don't feel it. I don't think he felt it. I'd bet all my betting account right now that he didn't feel it. He might have felt it initially when it happened, and maybe a little bit, and maybe when they popped it back into place. But once he got back out there, I doubt it. Probably not even the whole time, honestly. Your adrenaline's probably still spiking that even during that minute. Who knows though? Besides fighters. This was a great fucking fight. In that third round, Perry looked great and stunned him several times. I thought he was going to finish him there, but fucking Cowboy's tough. It was a great fucking match, so I gave that third round to Perry. And all three judges scored it 29-28 in Perry's favor. And I actually had a decent amount of money on Perry. I'm glad he won the fucking fight. And it was fucking great. I look forward to both these guys. I always look forward to both these guys, whoever they fight. It's always an awesome fight. And just the fact that these two guys are fucking fighting each other, wow. And it was a gift. It was a great fucking fight. This next fight, co-main event, not to say it wasn't a great fight. I just wish I could have seen more, or his opponent did something. He literally did nothing. Let me look at the fucking... He threw 3 strikes and landed 1. He threw 3 strikes, bro. Although it was finished in 2 minutes and 15, you got to throw more than 3 strikes. But co-main event, the next fight was between Greg Hardy and Dmitry Smolakayov. Hardy's was 3-1 coming in. Obviously was disqualified from his UFC debut. Landed in knee to a grounded opponent. I think it was on accident. Of course, with his background, people want to say it was on purpose. He's a dirty fighter. I think it's too early to fucking put a judgment on a guy. And we don't know what happened in that scenario. I'm not vouching for anything he did. I'm not supporting him for anything he did or may not have done. Saying you don't know. Just because, even if it's a big mistake, but just because somebody makes one mistake in your life doesn't mean you should fucking kill him. Or fucking, I don't know, be outcast from society forever and not be allowed to make a living. Which they did in the NFL. He's essentially not allowed back there, but, whatever. As far as the fight itself, as said, he finished Dmitry in the first round. I did have money on Hardy while I had him in the parlay because the betting lines were so outrageous. There's no reason to bet it straight up unless you thought you'd bet on Dmitry, but essentially Hardy hit him with a right hand, a strike in the very beginning of the first round, and DC, not Daniel Cormier, but Dominic Cruz, they're both fucking DC. I don't know why I call them both DC, because they both don't go by DC. But Dominic Cruz was commentating, he said, especially for a beginning fighter, he got out there, he didn't even throw a jab. The very first thing that Hardy threw was a right straight. He's fighting orthodox. So that's his right hand would be further back. So instead of throwing a jab, he threw a right straight, and Dominic Cruz is saying that was so he could judge his distance. He says, okay, now I know where he wants to be, where you can hit the 1-2, the jab straight. So, your jab's, pretty much going to always be in range as long as you're in, your jab's pretty easy to tell because that's the fucking strike you kind of use to gauge distance. But once you know how, exactly how far away you need to be to get that straight, that's kind of where you want to be when you come in with the 1-2 combos or the, 1-2, 1-3 or 1-2, 1-4 combos. I think 4 is right hook. I'm not sure honestly, but that's when, and with that first strike, it was pretty clear, although it was just kind of a light tap. And I guess a light tap for a guy, man, Hardy's fucking powerful, and a light tap for him is not, it's fucking hurts, I guess, because as soon as, Dimitri got hit once, and with that fucking right straight, it was kind of just a feel me out straight. He didn't throw again. Dimitri kind of just backed away, circled, just tried to, he wasn't running away, but he wasn't throwing, he wasn't fighting back. He kind of just like Greg Hardy, circle him down, pin him down in the cage. And the guy, he just pretty much shelled up. And, Hardy was very smart in this fight. He was very patient. He didn't just come out guns blazing, looking to try to rip the guy's head off. He was very composed in there. And, took his time and, just stuck to his game plan, hit him with strikes here and there, hit him with combos. And then once, Dimitri kind of folded, finished it. And it was a good performance. Dana White was really pissed that Dimitri didn't fight back. I was too. I'm sure a lot of people were a little disappointed, but I guess that man just hits really fucking hard. It looks like he does, man. That dude's powerful. He's thick. And his second fight in the UFC, he looked good. I definitely want to see him, versus somebody else that's going to, take it to him, not be afraid to fucking fight back. And, you can tell this man's getting good coach, and he's progressing pretty quickly. And they talk with him in the post-fight show. He seemed calm, cool, and collected. He didn't, in his past, like, amateur fights, when he'd fight, he'd knock someone out, and he just looked like a straight fucking savage killer out there. And he was, he probably wasn't trained too much. But, this fight, he just looked different. He looked really different. He looked like a fighter. He really did. And that was a huge jump because he fought, back in the January card, the first ESPN Plus card, Cejudo Dillashaw. He was the co-main, I believe. So for January to the end of April, a couple months, I think, although we didn't get to really see the full extent of how much he progressed, he definitely looked the part, said all the right things, and he said he could see everything happening in there. It's starting to slow down for him, whereas the first fight, everything was kind of rushed. He didn't even really see what was coming. He didn't know what happened. But here he said he saw everything. So, yeah, I look for him to fight again. I look for him to be tested. And with that, saying that, we come to the main event. And dude, honestly, although Jacare is legit, honestly, I thought this is how it would kind of play out. And that's easy to say after the fact, right? It's very easy to say after the fact. Everyone can say that. But Jacare Watson, honestly, kind of dominated this fight, man. In the first round, he stunned Jacare early. And when he stunned him, he went straight for that arming guillotine, trying to finish Jacare. It was just like crazy. I know everyone in the MMA community, UFC community, was like, no, you don't try to go to the ground with Jacare. You don't try to submit him. Are you crazy? He's one of the best in the world. Jack tried it. He said, fuck it. If I could do it versus him, I could do it versus anybody, and I'm the man. And I appreciate the confidence. I think if he just, went in there and just kept going with strikes, he probably would have finished him, there pretty early. But I'm kind of glad he didn't. Maybe would have been a more, headline performance, but I think the rest of the fight was just a greater performance because we gotta see this man in a 5-round fight, a month after he just fought. Short notice, taking, his first fight as a ranked fighter at number 10, facing a number 4 guy in Jacare, one of the best in the world perennially, year after year, been around forever. It was basically promised if Jacare wins, his next fight would be a title shot. He was taking a big risk. And Jack came in there and, round 2, he got a takedown, which is the second time ever anybody has ever taken Jacare down, and he took him down 3 times in this fight. Although Jacare stuffed the majority of his takedown attempts, Jack did take him to the ground, and he just kept pressuring, he just kept coming, he never stopped. Although he definitely started to look a little tired in the 4th and 5th. In the 3rd, he definitely didn't. He might have taken that round off because I definitely gave the 3rd to Jacare. Jacare defended all of his takedowns, had some body shots, and some good striking, and actually stunned Hermansson there. So I gave Jacare the 3rd round. First round definitely did it Hermansson because he stunned him, almost had finished. And he basically controlled the entire round nonstop and just had ground and pound. He actually landed. Well, actually, that was the second round. Second round, he had the takedown and controlled the entire round and nonstop ground and pound. He had 104 strikes to 5 while he was on top of Jacare. It was just insane. Nobody holds Jacare down and does that to him. They weren't the most powerful shots in the world, but he had 104 shots on him and just never stopped. It was fucking crazy. In round 3, I wrote down that Hermansson was wavering or weathering. I thought he was starting to decompose a little bit. But Dominic Cruz thought maybe it took a round off. And, hindsight be 20/20. That's what it kind of looks like. So I gave the 3rd round to Jacare, but then that 4th round, Harmansson came back with the second win, just had more volume, just did it again, and he stunned Jacare twice. So I gave him that round. And that 5th round, Jacare, again, still looked like a more fresh fighter, which would just seem insane because of the output he just had. And at the end there, Jacare was starting to come on. He's starting to, have that championship momentum. And he probably knew, and his corner knew that they had to finish. And he was throwing some fucking heavy shots, man. And he definitely had Hermansson on, on his bike. He had him backpedaling. Hermansson just, he got a takedown late with about 25 seconds left there and basically sealed the victory. And Jacare knew it too. He kind of, not that he gave up, but he didn't try as hard as he didn't try really to get up. He knew it was over. And although Jacare had his moments, it just seemed like from the opening bell he didn't want to be in there. It was fairly weird. I don't know. I don't know what it was. And I don't want to question his commitment or, his will to be there. But, although it was a last-minute opponent change, it kind of sucks. He feels like, fighting Hermansson is kind of a step down from him, and Hermansson didn't. I think he kind of probably took Hermansson lightly, too. He probably thought, I'm just coming here and beat his ass. It wasn't the case. And, Hermansson looked good. And I think this guy is on high track for the title, man. And that's what he wants. He says he's obsessed with it. And I could tell. You could tell in his eyes. The nickname, the Joker, is just always smiling. You could tell he's fucking obsessed with the game. He probably does nothing but train. And you can't beat those guys that do nothing but training. Look at Kamaru Usman. He beat Woodley, one of the best ever. Not saying Woodley lost because he's doing a bunch of other shit, but, it's hard to beat a guy who's on the up and coming. He's trying to, knock you down, and all he wants to do is train. He's obsessed. Usman goes on the fucking Joe Rogan podcast, and, Joe asks him, what do you do? What's your schedule like? What do you do when you're off time? What are your hobbies? And, he didn't really... it wasn't like he had didn't have an answer and he was struggling. Like he would name off things that he liked to do. But he like, oh, I like to cook. Hang out with my family, hang out with my friends. But I like to train. I like to train, make sure, I'm doing this, doing that with my training, stretching. But anytime you ask him, yeah, but what do you do in your off time? He's like, well, I really like to cook. And yeah, cooking, I like to cook too, and cooking takes some time, especially if you really like to cook and make some good shit. It could take an hour or two, even more. But, if someone asks you what do you like to do, people don't say, I like to cook. They say they like to watch TV, or, if they're not an athlete, they say, I work out sometimes, or what have you. You could tell Hermansson's probably just like Usman and just obsessed with this shit. And he's going to be obsessed until he gets that belt. Dude, I'd love to see him fight again. He definitely deserves some time off. They always try when somebody wins, and especially in a good fashion. They try to match him up with somebody right then and there and tell him, call somebody out. But essentially, yeah, he says he just wants the belt, and he's like, okay, well, if Whitaker's out or he's about to fight Israel Adesanya, okay, I can't fight them. Okay, who's the next guy? Oh, it's Romero, number 2. Okay, I'll fight him. Like, he wasn't like looking at, oh, should I fight 4? I beat the 4 guys, should it be 3? Or like, should I fight, number 5 or 6 because they're free? He's like, no, I want to fight the fucking title. Well, I know he has to fight, they have to unify the belts of the interim champ. Well, I guess, who's 2 then? Oh, Romero? Oh, he was supposed to fight this card, so I say that's the fight to happen. And oh my God, that's feeding him straight to the werewolves. But, I thought fucking Jacare was going to fucking... Well, I didn't, because I bet a lot, not a lot, but I bet in my relative terms a lot of money on Hermansson, because I really thought he'd go in there and win. As long as, I don't know, I had a feeling, I just had a feeling this guy is special, and I think he'll probably be champ one day, 185. I think he will be, because he has crazy ground pressure. He says he has the best ground and pound in the UFC, in the world, better than Khabib. He's 185, so he won't ever fight Khabib, so we'll never know if he's better than him. But 185, who else would be better that I know of? He fucking held Jacare on the ground for pretty much 4 minutes and had 100 strikes on him. Who's better than that? Romero? Maybe. I don't know if you could take Romero down, so that'd be a very interesting test. So yeah, look forward to both the guys fighting again. It was a great night of fights. Just to close this out, there was a Bellator card. Ben Henderson fought him then. He says he wants to get back up to the top and win a belt. I believe his 3rd organization. He's won one in UFC, I think Strikeforce. So now he wants one in Bellator. The main event of that card was between Rory Macdonald and Jon Fitch. I believe both guys used to be UFC fighters. I know Macdonald was. I've seen him fight, but I haven't seen Fitch fight. Relatively new fan. But I know the name, so I tuned in to watch. This is very interesting, kind of a boring fight. Jon Fitch does have a tendency to make fights quote-unquote boring, but it's a fight. If you get taken down on the ground, you can't get up, well, that's your fucking problem. Like, you have to get up, as long as the guy's not just holding you there and hugging you there, just trying to get, ground control and, just wear out the clock. You can do that and kind of put your pressure on them, but if 30 seconds go by and you don't do anything, you got to at least move position or put a strike in. I'm saying Jon Fitch didn't do that. He definitely was. He stayed busy. There was one stand-up late at the end of one of the rounds. I thought it was just dumb. Like, why would you do that? There's 10 seconds left and you told him to stand up. Like, bro, just let the 10 seconds run off. He's had been in this position all around. I don't know. But let's go round by round. First round, I scratched it out a couple times, 9-9, 10-9, but I ended up giving Rory 10-9 the first round. Fitch did have 2 takedowns, and good work on the ground. Just kept busy. I initially gave the fight to Jon Fitch, but then the way John McCarthy, who was commentating this fight with Mike Goldberg, McCarthy fucking convinced me that Rory won the round. Fitch took him down twice, but he didn't really put too many strikes down. And he said Rory had the more damaging strikes. And Rory actually used a Kimura, one of the takedowns, to get out and pick back up. Second round, I had Rory, just had a stand up, and he actually had a takedown late. Was just better at keeping distance, using his length against Fitch, using his athleticism. Then round 3, I had Jon Fitch. He had top ground position, good ground and pound, and I thought definitely won that round. Kind of just held Rory down, kind of neutralized him, and it was just pretty evident that he couldn't get back up. There was nothing he could do to get back up. Come fourth round, I gave to Rory Macdonald. He had stunning strikes in the beginning. But Fitch did take him down and hold him down again for about 3 minutes. And although it was light ground and pound, he still held him down. So I could see the judges going either way in that. On that round. Same thing with the first round. I had it 10-9 for Jon Fitch. I switched it to 9-9. I switched it to 10-9 just because John McCarthy told me to. So I could see that round or the fourth round going either way. Fifth round, I thought was definitely Jon Fitch's. He had 4+ minutes of top control, and Rory couldn't do anything. He just laid there on his back and did nothing. So come to the judges' scorecard. One of the judges scored it 49-46 in Jon Fitch's favor, which is what I had initially, and the other 2 judges scored it 47-47, which I don't understand. I guess maybe they gave 3 rounds to Rory, and then one of the 2 rounds they gave to Fitch was a 10-8. I guess that's how. Maybe they gave that 4th round a 10-8. Or that 3rd round of 10-8, not sure, but it ended up being majority draw, which I don't understand. And I guess in a majority draw that, technically you don't beat the guy, and since Rory's the champ, you don't beat him, so he moves on to face the next guy in this little tournament they're doing. I think it's a welterweight tournament, Grand Prix, which is weird. I don't know. I feel like if 2 judges scored even, a draw, and one guy scores it to Fitch, well, then Fitch won the fight. 2 of them said, I don't know, draw. And another one said Fitch. This is why you have 5 judges. This is why you should have 5 judges. There should be a situation like that. Shouldn't really be draws. But draws with an L. I guess it is what it is, and it's kind of nice. It ended up perfectly. The UFC event finished and saw the whole card, and the Bellator card came on and got to watch the 5 rounds of that fight. It was kind of boring, but glad I watched it. And Rory Macdonald had a very interesting post-fight speech. Essentially, he was just saying, I don't know, his mindset just wasn't there. And I guess you could tell he didn't come out with that fire, that killer instinct he usually has, that assassin mindset. And he said it himself. He doesn't know if he has that instinct anymore. He just didn't feel it out there. He doesn't know if he has it in him to just come out there and want to try to hurt another guy, which I definitely get. Fucking maturing. And he knows he's one of the best in the world. He's been through some wars, and he's probably hurt some guys, gave some guys some brain damage. He's received some himself. So, he's just a intellectual approach and just a emotionally aware guy. And oftentimes, although being smart, you can be a great fighter and know what to do. But if you're too smart or too emotionally intelligent, you can't really be too emotionally intelligent, I guess. But if you know what you're doing out there, you don't, if your heart's not all in, and especially if it's a fucking fight, I don't know, man. I don't think you should be fighting. And supposedly he's supposed to fight next month, to continue on this tournament. So I don't know. We'll see where his head's at. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. He's a big name in that tournament, so it's not like he can leave. He's the champ. He can't just, I guess he could step away and vacate the belt, but I don't know if he wants to do that. Why would you want to do that? I don't know. Is what it is. Good UFC fights, and really look forward to these next upcoming fights. I'll have a preview episode for that. That'll be UFC Fight Night 151 between Rage and Ally Quinta and Donald Cowboy Cerrone, number 4 and number 8, I believe, at 155. Should just be some exciting matchups, exciting fights on that card. Who we got fighting? We got Mitch Gagon to start us off, Nardine Talib, Macy Chiasson to close out the prelim. She's an up-and-comer 4-0 at 135 women's. She looks legit, number 14th overall already. We got Walt Harris fighting, Cobb Swanson's fighting, Derek Brunson versus Elias Theodoro. Theodoro is incredibly unorthodox. If you want to see a crazy fight style, it's like out of a movie. It's like out of the one Tekken fighter. I forget his name, but the black guy, I think he's Brazilian. Is it Eddie Guerrero? He kind of fights like him, but it's slower. It's very strange. It's a style like none other. So if anything, just watch that. The main event's going to be fucking crazy. Ally Quinta, Donald Cerrone. That's a fucking great fight, and I can't wait. Love you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting. More listens I get, more money I get from Anchor. I almost have $1, so thank you. All right, peace.